CA Real Estate License Exam Practice Test. Question 1. Why can the DRE discipline a licensee who uses dishonest statements in a transaction involving a garden apartment building for Hero in Chula Vista? Option A. The escrow company decides whether a license is suspended. Option B. The lender automatically revokes the real estate license. Option C. The city planning department controls license discipline. Option D. The commissioner has jurisdiction over violations of real estate law and regulations. The correct answer is option D. The commissioner has jurisdiction over violations of real estate law and regulations. The California Department of Real Estate may investigate and discipline licensees for violations of real estate law and related regulations. Escrow companies do not control license status. Lenders may enforce loan rules but do not revoke DRE licenses. Local planning departments regulate land use rather than real estate licenses. Question 2. How should an agent respond when a principal orders the agent to hide a known old underground tank for Tanya in Sacramento? Option A. Refuse the unlawful instruction and disclose required material facts. Option B. Disclose the issue only if the buyer is unrepresented. Option C. Follow the instruction because obedience is absolute. Option D. Ask escrow to remove all inspection language. The correct answer is option A. Refuse the unlawful instruction and disclose required material facts. Obedience does not require an agent to follow illegal or unethical instructions, and material facts must be handled honestly. Material disclosure obligations are not limited to represented buyers. The duty of obedience is limited to lawful directions. Escrow instructions cannot lawfully erase disclosure duties. Question 3. After an agency agreement expires, what usually happens to the agent's authority to bind the principal for Noah in Irvine? Option A. The agent may sign new purchase offers for 1 year. Option B. The authority ends except for duties that survive termination, such as confidentiality. Option C. The authority transfers to the lender automatically. Option D. The principal must accept any offer the agent later receives. The correct answer is option B. The authority ends except for duties that survive termination, such as confidentiality. Termination usually ends the agent's authority to act for the principal, while certain duties such as confidentiality may continue. An expired agreement does not permit later signing for the principal. Lenders do not inherit agency authority. A principal is not required to accept later offers just because the former agent receives them. Stressed about your California real estate exam? We can take California real estate exam for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done. Question 4. A buyer asks Jean to show homes only in neighborhoods with families from a preferred background. How should the licensee respond? Option A. Show only listings from the buyer's preferred demographic area. Option B. Ask sellers for permission to discriminate. Option C. Decline steering and provide service based on lawful housing criteria. Option D. Follow the request if the buyer signs a waiver. The correct answer is option C. Decline steering and provide service based on lawful housing criteria. Fair housing rules prohibit steering based on protected characteristics and require equal professional service. Neighborhood selection based on protected traits is improper steering. Seller permission cannot legalize discriminatory conduct. A waiver does not authorize discrimination. Question 5. Why must many real estate sale contracts for a fourplex be in writing to be enforceable for Maya in Fresno? Option A. Escrow refuses all documents with signatures. Option B. The parole evidence rule forbids all oral conversations. Option C. The deed of trust cancels oral listings. Option D. The statute of frauds requires written evidence for certain real estate agreements. The correct answer is option D. The statute of frauds requires written evidence for certain real estate agreements. The statute of frauds generally requires certain real estate agreements to be evidenced by a signed writing. Escrow handles signed instructions but does not create the statute of frauds. The parole evidence rule addresses interpretation of written contracts rather than banning all discussions. A deed of trust secures a debt and does not cancel oral statements by itself. Question 6. Why is the right of survivorship important in joint tenancy for Kai and Anaheim? Option A. A deceased joint tenant's interest passes to the surviving joint tenant or tenants. Option B. It gives the lender ownership of the property. Option C. It creates a landlord minus tenant relationship. Option D. It prevents all property taxes from being assessed. The correct answer is option A. A deceased joint tenant's interest passes to the surviving joint tenant or tenants. Joint tenancy includes survivorship, so a deceased joint tenant's interest is not transferred by will in the usual way. A lender holds a security interest, not ownership because of survivorship. Joint tenancy is an ownership form, not a rental relationship. Property tax assessment is a separate legal issue. Question 7. During title review, why does Zara order title insurance? Option A. To guarantee every appliance works. Option B. To protect against covered title defects and claims subject to policy terms. Option C. To replace a home inspection. Option D. To insure against poor neighborhood appreciation. The correct answer is option B. To protect against covered title defects and claims subject to policy terms. Title insurance protects against covered title risks such as certain liens, ownership defects, or recording problems. Appliance condition is a physical property issue. A home inspection evaluates condition rather than title status. Market appreciation is an investment risk outside title coverage. Question 8. Why is a closing statement useful to Samir? Option A. It records the deed without county involvement. Option B. It automatically cures every title defect. Option C. It summarizes charges, credits, debits, and funds needed or received at settlement. Option D. It substitutes for the purchase agreement. The correct answer is option C. It summarizes charges, credits, debits, and funds needed or received at settlement. A closing statement organizes the financial details of the closing for the parties. County recording is a separate step from financial settlement reporting. Title defects require appropriate title or legal resolution. The purchase agreement remains the controlling contract. Are you looking for California real estate exam actual questions? Visit our website pokerexams.com to access California real estate exam study guide with actual questions and answers. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to get California real estate exam answer key today. Question 9. A buyer signs a note and a deed of trust for a suburban lot. What does the deed of trust primarily do for Yara in Bakersfield? Option A. It transfers ownership to the appraiser. Option B. It proves the buyer has no credit risk. Option C. It replaces the purchase contract. Option D. It creates security for repayment of the debt using the property. The correct answer is option D. It creates security for repayment of the debt using the property. A deed of trust secures the loan by creating a lien minus like security interest in the property. The appraiser estimates value but does not receive ownership. Credit risk is evaluated through underwriting and is not erased by the deed of trust. The purchase contract governs the sale and is not replaced by loan security. Question 10. Why is commingling a serious issue for a real estate broker for Arjun in Santa Barbara? Option A. It mixes client trust funds with the broker's own money. Option B. It occurs only when a deed is recorded late. Option C. It is a permitted way to avoid bank fees. Option D. It means two buyers viewed the same property. The correct answer is option A. It mixes client trust funds with the broker's own money. Commingling occurs when trust money is mixed with personal or business funds beyond limited permitted amounts. Late recording is a title priority issue rather than commingling. Avoiding fees does not justify improper trust fund handling. Multiple showings do not involve fund handling. Question 11. How does a natural hazard disclosure help a buyer evaluating a garden apartment building for Bianca in Oakland? Option A. It cancels the buyer's inspection rights. Option B. It identifies whether the property lies in specified hazard zones. Option C. It guarantees there will never be a natural disaster. Option D. It gives the seller a free appraisal. The correct answer is option B. It identifies whether the property lies in specified hazard zones. Natural hazard disclosure statements inform buyers about mapped hazard areas relevant to the property. Inspection and investigation rights are separate contract matters. A disclosure cannot guarantee future disaster outcomes. It is not an appraisal service. Question 12. What does highest and best use analysis ask about a parcel in Santa Rosa for Marisol in Santa Rosa? Option A. The use preferred by the current tenant only. Option B. The use with the lowest insurance cost. Option C. The legally permissible, physically possible, financially feasible, and maximally productive use. Option D. The use chosen by the listing photographer. The correct answer is option C. The legally permissible, physically possible, financially feasible, and maximally productive use. Highest and best use analyzes the most productive supportable use under legal, physical, and financial tests. A tenant's preference alone is not the full analysis. Insurance cost alone does not determine maximum productivity. Marketing photography does not establish property use. Question 13. A tax bill is prorated as of closing. What is the purpose of the daily proration calculation for Jamal in Palm Springs? Option A. To create a new easement. Option B. To guarantee the buyer's income. Option C. To change the legal description. Option D. To allocate the tax burden between ownership periods. The correct answer is option D. To allocate the tax burden between ownership periods. Daily proration allocates recurring charges between buyer and seller based on the closing date. Easements are property rights created by grant, reservation, implication, or law. Income is not guaranteed by a proration calculation. Legal descriptions identify property and do not change through tax math. Question 14. A property manager collects rent for an owner of a duplex. Which duty is especially important for Nora in San Jose? Option A. Accurate accounting and handling of the owner's funds. Option B. Changing zoning without city approval. Option C. Recording a grant deed after every rent payment. Option D. Issuing a title policy to every tenant. The correct answer is option A. Accurate accounting and handling of the owner's funds. Property managers owe careful accounting duties when collecting and dispersing money for owners. Zoning changes require public approval and are not a manager's unilateral power. Rent collection does not require a deed recording each time. Title policies are for ownership/title risks rather than routine tenancies. Question 15. Why is eminent domain considered a government right in land for Caleb in Stockton? Option A. It lets a buyer cancel any contract without cause. Option B. It allows government to take private property for public use with just compensation. Option C. It gives a tenant title after 1 month. Option D. It is a private easement for a neighbor. The correct answer is option B. It allows government to take private property for public use with just compensation. Eminent domain is the government's power to acquire private property for public use with compensation. Contract cancellation rights come from contract terms or law, not eminent domain. Tenancy does not create title after 1 month. A private easement is a non-possessory use right, not eminent domain. Question 16. A small retail building has suspected mold after water intrusion. What is the safest study-guide response for May in Ventura? Option A. Call it harmless without testing. Option B. Hide the report until after recording. Option C. Treat it as a condition requiring disclosure and possible expert investigation. Option D. Ignore it unless the buyer asks in writing. The correct answer is option C. Treat it as a condition requiring disclosure and possible expert investigation. Mold concerns can affect value, health perceptions, and desirability, so disclosure and expert review may be appropriate. A licensee should not make unsupported health or safety assurances. Concealing reports until after recording undermines disclosure duties. Waiting for a written question does not excuse known material facts. Question 17. Why should an investor consider capital gains tax consequences before selling a ranch property for Raphael in Riverside? Option A. Capital gains tax is the same as a security deposit. Option B. Capital gains rules determine agency representation. Option C. Capital gains tax guarantees loan approval. Option D. A profit on sale may have tax consequences depending on the facts. The correct answer is option D. Profit on sale may have tax consequences depending on the facts. A sale can trigger tax consequences based on gain, ownership, use, and applicable exclusions or deferrals. Security deposits are landlord minus tenant funds. Agency representation is controlled by agreements and disclosures. Tax treatment does not guarantee underwriting approval. Question 18. A licensee discovers a mistake in a published listing price. What is the best professional response for Ivy in Pasadena? Option A. Correct the error quickly and communicate accurately with affected parties. Option B. Leave it online until escrow closes. Option C. Use the lower price only for favored buyers. Option D. Claim that all advertising errors are harmless. The correct answer is option A. Correct the error quickly and communicate accurately with affected parties. Professional responsibility requires prompt correction of material advertising errors and honest communication. Leaving a known mistake online can mislead consumers. Selective use of price information can create fairness and disclosure issues. Advertising errors can be material and should not be dismissed. Stressed about your California real estate exam? We can take California real estate exam for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done. Question 19. Why must brokers keep transaction records for the required period for Victor in Los Angeles? Option A. Records replace all signed contracts. Option B. Records allow review of compliance, trust funds, and transaction conduct. Option C. Records make licensing unnecessary. Option D. Records are kept only to decorate the office. The correct answer is option B. Records allow review of compliance, trust funds, and transaction conduct. Record retention supports DRE review and accountability for brokerage activity. Records preserve evidence but do not replace the contracts themselves. Keeping records does not remove licensing requirements. Decorative value is irrelevant to legal compliance. Question 20. A consumer obtains a qualifying judgment against a licensee but cannot collect. What California protection may become relevant for Imani in Long Beach? Option A. Private mortgage insurance. Option B. Homestead exemption only. Option C. California Real Estate Recovery Account. Option D. Subdivision Map Act only. The correct answer is option C. California Real Estate Recovery Account. The recovery account may provide limited consumer recovery for qualifying losses caused by licensee misconduct. Private mortgage insurance protects lenders against borrower default. A homestead exemption protects equity from certain creditors and is not a licensee recovery fund. Subdivision law governs land division and public reports. Question 21. A buyer asks why minutes and financial statements matter in an HOA review. What is the best reason for Amara in Chula Vista? Option A. They replace the deed. Option B. They guarantee no neighbor disputes can occur. Option C. They serve as a lender's promissory note. Option D. They may reveal budget, maintenance, litigation, or assessment issues. The correct answer is option D. They may reveal budget, maintenance, litigation, or assessment issues. Association records can help buyers evaluate financial health and potential risks in a community. The deed is the conveyance instrument. Records cannot guarantee no disputes. A promissory note is a borrower's promise to repay a loan. Question 22. How does an option to renew benefit a tenant in a lease for Theo in Sacramento? Option A. It may give the tenant a contractual right to extend the lease under stated terms. Option B. It cancels all rent obligations. Option C. It converts the landlord into a lender. Option D. It transfers fee title immediately. The correct answer is option A. It may give the tenant a contractual right to extend the lease under stated terms. An option to renew can preserve a tenant's ability to continue occupancy if conditions are met. Rent obligations usually continue under the extended lease. The landlord does not become a lender because of a renewal option. Fee title is not transferred by renewal rights. Question 23. Why can mineral rights be separated from surface rights for Rosa and Irvine? Option A. Only tenants can own mineral interests. Option B. Real property can include separate interests that may be conveyed or reserved. Option C. Surface owners never have any rights. Option D. Minerals are always personal property before extraction. The correct answer is option B. Real property can include separate interests that may be conveyed or reserved. Real property ownership may be divided into separate estates or interests, including mineral rights. Mineral interests are not limited to tenants. Surface owners can still hold significant rights. Minerals may be real property interests before extraction depending on facts. Question 24. A real estate licensee arranges residential mortgage loans for compensation. What additional authorization may be required for Ben and Modesto? Option A. A pest control operator license only. Option B. A liquor license. Option C. Mortgage loan originator endorsement when activities meet SAFE Act requirements. Option D. A subdivision public report. The correct answer is option C. Mortgage loan originator endorsement when activities meet SAFE Act requirements. Certain residential mortgage loan origination activities require an MLO endorsement in addition to a real estate license. Pest control licensing concerns inspections and treatment, not loan origination. A liquor license is unrelated. A subdivision public report concerns subdivider offerings. Question 25. How should a seller's existing loan payoff appear in a closing calculation for Olivia in Fresno? Option A. As a new HOA rule. Option B. As a broker license renewal fee. Option C. As a buyer credit for rent. Option D. As a seller debit or charge paid from sale proceeds. The correct answer is option D. As a seller debit or charge paid from sale proceeds. An existing loan payoff reduces the seller's proceeds because it must be satisfied at closing. HOA rules are governing document matters. License renewal fees are unrelated to settlement payoff. Buyer rent credits address occupancy or rent issues, not seller debt payoff.